Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Luke, and today I'll give you a complete guide on why your houseplant leaves are yellowing and how you can fix it. So, have fun. Oh, let's go, guys. Now listen. So guys, before we start, here's a short outline about today's video. There are also timestamps down in the description if you want to skip to a certain chapter. However, I recommend watching all the chapters as they're all built up on each other. And yeah, let's go. So first you have to understand what basically happens when a leaf turns yellow, and to be honest, it's really simple and basic. Now everything what happens is that the leaves takes its nitrogen, sends it back into the soil, which the plant can then use for new leaves. Let me give you an example. This string of hearts, for instance, has here a yellow leaf and here a yellow leaf. And all the plant does is it takes the nitrogen within this yellow leaf, then it sends it back into the soil for the stems, which the soil then can use to make new leaves down here. As nitrogen is a natural leaf maker for every single house plant. Nitrogen is for leaves, phosphorus is for the roots, and potassium is for the stems. And this is basically every basic life circle of every houseplant. And this is also what happens outdoors. So a few yellow leaves, especially on the bottom, are totally normal for every houseplant if there are new leaves coming out at the top. Now guys, second, you want to take the conditions into account in which the plant was before it came to your home. Usually plants are in plant stores or nurseries where they have perfect conditions. They have bright indirect sunlight, as they can see it as they have a very wide view of the sky. They get watered perfectly, they get fertilized perfectly. Therefore, every single houseplant you see at a nursery is more or less perfectly grown. When you bring your plants home, there are sometimes totally different conditions, especially light-wise. So it's totally normal for a plant to adjust to your apartment or to your home or to your house. And therefore, this also can be totally normal if it loses some yellow leaves.
Still adjusting? You're here since 2 months. We will have a serious conversation now.
Okay, so now let's come to the main part of this video, the 4 reasons why your leaves are actually yellowing. We will talk about roots, lighting, fertilizer and water. Let's start with roots. So guys, with all the knowledge you've got about the natural circle of a houseplant, what you want to do is when you see a yellow leaf,
That's okay.
You don't want to start panicking, but what you want to do is you especially and definitely always want to audit your entire plant. So the first thing you want to do is take the plant out of its pot and audit the roots. So if you see brown and mushy roots, it's very, very likely that you overwatered the houseplant. And brown and mushy roots is basically only a symptom for overwatering. So if we've got overwatering at the bottom, we've got mushy roots over it, then we've got mushy stems, and then we've got yellow leaves, and then we've got death of the plant. So roots are very, very important. Always check on them, and then go over to the second part, which is watering. Now, there are only 3 things you actually can do to prevent overwatering. First is you want to know the watering needs of every single house plant. However, the watering needs for the soil are more or less basically always the same, as every soil wants to be saturated. It doesn't matter if you've got a spider plant, if you've got a succulent, if you've got a tropical plant. Always when you water, your aim should be to saturate the plant fully. You never want to oversaturate it, and in order to prevent oversaturation, you can improve the drainage. Of course, with a drainage hole and with some other substances. You can use coarse sand, you also can use tree bark, you can use perlite, or you also simply just can use stones, which just loosen up the soil a little bit, and this will also help with the drainage. And the third point is light, and I guess this might be the most important part, as this also happens in nature. What you have to understand is that every single plant, before it consumes chlorophyll, which is a very important element for houseplants, is actually yellow. It's yellow pigmented. But due to the overwhelming amount of chlorophyll the houseplant gets, it then turns green. And we have wonderful green houseplants like this peace lily, for instance. And what then happens in the fall or in the winter, when the duration of the light intensity goes down and the days become shorter, then the plant can't consume as much chlorophyll anymore. and what happens outside is that the green color gets lost and actually the yellow pigmented leaves turn up again. But what does this really mean for your houseplants? It's very simple. This means for your houseplants that during fall and during winter it's totally normal and totally okay if they have some leaves which actually turn yellow due to the light intensity. So how can you prevent this? Of course you can prevent it by bringing your houseplants nearer to the window so they get even more sunlight or even more bright indirect sunlight. However, I always believe in the natural circle of every single plant, houseplants as well. Therefore, I just leave them as they are in the winter, and I know that in the summer they all will come up again and they will have growth boosts and they will become even stronger and bigger and healthier and larger houseplants again. Now the fourth point is fertilization. Now this is actually very simple because all you have to do is fertilize your houseplants once a month in winter and once a week in summer. So there's nothing much to do wrong or nothing much to explain. It's not rocket science. All I would do is get yourself, just like a watering can, add your fertilizer into the water your houseplants, as I said, every 4 to 5 weeks, and they should be okay. Now before we continue guys, as YouTube sometimes is a little bit anonymous, it would be really, really nice if you could just let me know where you all are from, where you are watching from, town, city, country. If you wish, you also can leave your Instagram name down below. I'll just hit you up there so we can get in contact, as I think it would be nice if I could just like have a close relationship to you guys and to actually see and know who watches my videos. Now I get this question very, very often, and the answer is no, in general no. So there are some leaves if they are yellowish and if they have a lack of nutrients due to not having enough fertilizer in the soil, then they can turn back green again. But as I said, we are talking about yellowish plants, yellowish leaves. If you have a leaf which is really totally yellow and is maybe also burned, then it will not turn back green again. And all you have to and should actually really do is to cut it off, as all the leaf does it is steals nutrients from the soil, and this is bad of course for all the other healthy leaves, as they don't get as much nutrients as they should do. So whenever you see a yellow leaf on your plants, immediately take yourself a sterile, sharp scissors and cut it off. So guys, what's the conclusion? First, the conclusion is, if you have a yellow leaf, don't panic as long as there's new growth coming out of the plant. And second, still, if you have a new leaf, you always want to order the plants in regard to lights, roots, watering and fertilization. And then you should be all good with all of your beautiful houseplants. So thank you for watching the entire video to the end, and I'll see you next week for next week's video. Stay healthy with Luke.